went through every single name in your bloodline. Before I told you this, Grandpa, Great-Grandpa, Great-Great-Grandpa, each one of them, one by one, and not a single one heard what you're about to hear right now. Not because they didn't deserve it, but because this calling had your name written on it before the very first one of them was even born. Out of your entire family, out of every generation that came and went without ever knowing what they were carrying, you are the first to receive this summons, and I confirmed it before you ever took your first breath. Stick with me until the end. Before this is over, you're going to receive the exact protocol to activate what nobody before you had the courage, the time, or the revelation to activate. You wake up at 3 in the morning. Not because of a noise, not because your body aches, not for any reason that fits into a simple explanation. You wake up because something inside you is already standing before the clock even confirms the hour. You stare at the ceiling in the dark and you know you should be sleeping, but your spirit is already on its feet, waiting for something your mind still can't name. This has happened so many times you've stopped counting, and every single time, you went back to sleep without an answer, convincing yourself it was just another rough night. You learn to smile in the living room, at the work meeting, at the family dinner, in the hallway where everyone asks how you're doing, and you answer, "Good, I'm good," on autopilot until it doesn't even feel like a lie anymore. And you learned, without anyone ever teaching you, to close the front door and let your face fall. Let your shoulders drop. Let your chest get heavy. Nobody sees the gap between the outside smile and the inside silence. Only you know that distance, and only you know how exhausting it is. You watch everyone else moving forward. Someone buys a house. Someone gets married. Someone gets the invitation you were hoping for yourself. Someone gets called up to the stage while you stay seated in the audience of your own life, and you sit there, doing the quiet math, asking yourself what you did wrong, or what you failed to do, or what everyone else has that you don't. Nobody told you their race was never your race, that the clock measuring their time isn't the same one measuring yours. You seek. You dedicate yourself. You do everything right, and yet abundance never comes. And the worst part, you start wondering if you're doing something wrong, if you're being heard up above, if it's meant for you at all. It's not a lack of faith or worthiness. It's a spiritual blockage that ordinary prayer alone cannot break. The Miracle Journal unblocks this in 21 days with a spiritual protocol that works exactly where your prayer doesn't reach. Along with the journal, you'll also receive as a gift the prayer guide and the Psalms manual with the most powerful sacred practices and texts to deepen your transformation. To claim your version of the journal, tap the link in the comments right below this video. Their race was never your race, that the clock measuring their time isn't the same one measuring yours. And at night, before you fall asleep, comes the inventory. What still hasn't arrived. The dream you promised yourself years ago that's still sitting open. The goal you've postponed so many times you don't even know if you still believe in it anymore. The list grows faster than your courage to speak it out loud to anyone. This isn't weakness. This isn't delay. This is the sound of someone being shaped in a different time than everyone else, in a process that nobody in your family before you had the spiritual structure to go through. And the fact that you're still standing, still watching this video all the way through, without giving up halfway, already says something about who you are. You've probably learned to call this being too sensitive, always on the edge, taking everything too seriously for your own good. But notice something. Nobody feels the weight of a calling that doesn't exist. Nobody wakes up in the middle of the night for a mission that isn't real. The exhaustion you feel isn't proof that something's wrong with you. It's proof that something real is being formed inside you at a rhythm that nobody in your bloodline has ever experienced before, because nobody before you was carrying this specific calling. If any of these scenes found you, hit the like button right now before we keep going. The like is your public amen. Heaven records what you confess out in the open. 3 promises before we continue. and every single one of them is going to come true within this very video. First, the delay you're feeling isn't failure. It's the preparation time that nobody in your bloodline had the time, the revelation, or the courage to push all the way through. Second, the protocol that's coming next is going to reveal the exact shape of the calling that's waiting for you. Not some generic calling repeated in 1,000 videos, but the specific design made for your hands, and only your hands. Third, by the end of this video, you're going to be able to declare out loud with your mouth and not just in your thoughts that you are the first of a new generation and not the last of an old one. I placed you here at this exact hour, hearing this voice, because this word is for you. I saw every attempt your family made to reach this point, and I saw every time they stopped before the finish line, out of fear, out of exhaustion, out of a lack of revelation. That wasn't an accident. It was ground being prepared, silently, generation after generation, so that you could plant what they were never able to harvest. Close your eyes for a second if you're in a safe place to do that, or just look away from the screen and listen with your full attention. What I'm about to show you are signs you've already lived through, maybe in the last week, maybe even today, but you never had anyone to explain what they really were. The first sign is waking up in the middle of the night with a name or a place popping into your head, out of nowhere, with no dream to explain it, no context to justify it. You've probably called this insomnia, anxiety, a mind that never shuts off. But that's not it. It's your spirit being summoned before your mind wakes up. It's a meeting scheduled on a plane you haven't learned to see clearly yet, and your body wakes up because something inside you already showed up to that meeting before you even knew it existed. The second sign is a growing discomfort with a routine that used to be perfectly fine. The same house that used to feel like enough. The same drive to work. The same conversation repeated every single day. Today, they all feel too small to hold you. You've probably called this ingratitude, restless for no reason, a rough phase that'll pass. But that's not it. It's the tuning to a level your entire family never reached. Nobody taught you to want more than they wanted, because nobody before you got close enough to the door to feel this specific kind of discomfort. The third sign is thinking about specific people for no apparent reason. A face that shows up out of nowhere in the middle of the day. A name that comes back to your mind without explanation. Someone you haven't seen in years, and suddenly you feel a strong urge to write to them, call them, look them up. You've probably called this coincidence, a loose memory, chance. But that's not it. It's the calling already including, in advance, the people you're going to impact. Before you even understand what your mission is, heaven is already connecting you to the ones who are going to need it exactly. The fourth sign is feeling like you know how to do something you were never formally taught. A skill that appears without a course, without training, without any explanation of where it came from, and it flows out of you with a naturalness that even scares you. You've probably called this luck, random talent, a birth gift that doesn't matter. But that's not it. It's spiritual inheritance skipping entire generations, crossing decades of silence, and landing exactly on you, because you were the one who was ready, available, and open to receive it. The next sign is the hardest one to hear. It's the one the enemy spent the most time, the most energy, and the most strategy trying to make you ignore. The fifth sign, the strongest one of all, is that recurring feeling of waiting for permission. Permission from someone who's already dead, or from someone who's still alive but never gave it, and maybe never will. You stay frozen, waiting for an approval that never comes. A green light someone was supposed to hand you, but never did. You've probably called this respect, caution, waiting for the right time before you act. But that's not it. It's the last barrier between you and the authority that was already placed in your hands a long time ago. There is nobody left, alive or dead, to authorize what you were already commissioned to do before you were born. If any of these signs found you, and probably more than one did, type the word "free" in the comments right now. Before you keep watching, close your eyes for a second. Take a deep breath. What I'm about to tell you won't work if your attention is split between this message and anything else. There's a man in the Bible named Jeremiah. Before any generation in your family had a name, before any grandpa or great-grandpa existed on the timeline, Jeremiah had already been called, still inside his mother's womb, before he ever breathed the first air of this world. When he heard that, his first reaction wasn't gratitude, it was resistance. It was fear dressed up as an excuse. He said he was too young, that he didn't know how to speak properly, that he wasn't ready for a responsibility that big. He hesitated in front of a calling that was already his before he was even born, a calling that didn't depend on the approval or the preparation he thought he needed to have. And it was exactly at that point of hesitation, in the middle of his fear, that the answer came. Not an answer that confirmed his fear, but one that annihilated it completely. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart, and I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. There was no negotiation possible in the face of that declaration. The calling was sealed before any objection could even be made. There's also a much simpler story, with no visible miracle at all, about a plant called the Chinese bamboo. You plant the seed, water it every day, take care of it with attention, and for 4 entire years, sometimes 5, absolutely nothing visible happens above the surface of the soil. No sprout, no sign of growth, no proof that the work is paying off. Any outsider would look at that empty patch of dirt and say there's nothing there, that it was wasted time, wasted water, wasted effort. But underground, invisible to everyone, the root system is spreading, deepening, strengthening mile after mile. And then, in a period of just a few weeks, the bamboo explodes and grows over 60 feet tall. Not because it grew too fast without preparation, because it was completely ready on the inside, long before anything showed up on the outside. Notice that nobody applauds the root. Everybody only applauds the bamboo when it's already grown 60 feet in a few weeks, thinking the growth was instant, effortless, with no time invested. Nobody saw the work underground. Nobody saw what was being formed in the dark. Only the one who planted knows what that silence cost, and only the one who planted understands that the silence was never the absence of work. It was the work itself happening, where nobody could see. You are the same story, told a different way. Just like Jeremiah needed to hear that he was already known, formed, and set apart before he was even born, you need to hear that right now, with the same force. Just like the bamboo spent entire years underground with no visible sign of progress, the years when you felt like nothing was happening in your life were not lost years. They were not wasted time. They were roots being formed silently to support what is about to grow so fast that nobody around you will be able to explain it rationally. If you identified with Jeremiah's hesitation, that fear of not being young enough, experienced enough, or prepared enough, or if you identified with the bamboo's hidden time, that period when it seemed like absolutely nothing was happening, type in the comments right now the word Jeremiah or the phrase hidden root. Type whatever touched you the most in this moment. Let me stop for a full minute, because what's coming next needs to be received with calm. You recognize the scenes from the beginning of this video. Waking up in the middle of the night for no apparent reason. The outside smile hiding the inside exhaustion. The silent comparison with people who seem to be moving faster than you. The nighttime inventory of what still hasn't arrived, done alone, in the darkness of your room. You identified at least one of the signs that were listed. Maybe 2, maybe 3, happening inside you right now as you hear this message without being able to distract yourself. You saw yourself in Jeremiah's hesitation, thinking it's too early, or too late, or that you're just not the right person for this. And you also saw yourself in the bamboo's hidden time, in that long period when it seemed like nothing was happening, despite all the effort you invested. And still, despite all of that, you made it this far. You didn't give up halfway. You didn't close the video when the pain was named with details you didn't expect to hear. That alone is confirmation of a calling, not coincidence. And here is who you are within all of this. What you're about to hear is not a human title, not empty motivation, not a self-help phrase. It's what I call you when I speak to heaven about you. I counted one by one every generation in your family that tried to reach this point and didn't complete the path. I counted every interrupted attempt, every dream postponed until it died in a drawer, every attempt to break the pattern that died before it could bloom for lack of time, revelation, or courage. And today I tell you, with all the authority of heaven, the waiting ends in this person. It ends in you. There are 3 identities that were waiting, stored up, to be delivered to you in this exact moment. They are not titles you chose for yourself out of vanity. They are names that already existed over your life before you were born, written before any success or any failure. You are the first fruit. I saw your entire bloodline planting without harvesting, generation after generation, sowing hope, sowing prayer, sowing silent sacrifice, and never seeing the complete harvest in their own hands, dying before they could see the result of their own planting. You were formed exactly to be that first visible harvest, the fruit that finally ripens after entire generations of planting with no apparent return. This authorizes you to stop apologizing for having more than your parents had, for going further than they went, for achieving what they were never able to achieve. It is not betrayal against them. It is not disrespect to their memory. It is the fulfillment of what they themselves planted with their own hands. You are the key bearer of the generations. I saw doors that stayed closed for everyone who came before you in your family, not because they were unworthy or incapable, but because those doors were guarded deliberately, specifically, to open in your hand at the right time, at the exact moment you would be ready to walk through without getting lost on the other side. This authorizes you to act with authority exactly in the areas where your family always retreated, out of fear, out of shame, out of unresolved trauma. Where they stopped in front of the closed door, you walk through with the key that was always yours. You don't need to force the lock or break the door down. The key has already been handed over. You just need to stop pretending you don't have it in your hand. You are the pattern breaker. I saw the cycles that repeated for entire generations in your family, without exception. Silence where there should have been a voice. Scarcity where there should have been abundant provision. Delay where there should have been firm decision. And I saw you being chosen before you were even born, before any mistake or success of yours has the exact breaking point of those cycles. This authorizes you to make decisions different from the ones your family always made, even without approval, even without understanding from those who are still stuck in the old pattern and maybe never will understand your departure from it. You don't need the blessing of those who still live inside the cycle to finally step out of it. The breaking of a pattern is never applauded by those who still live inside it. It is only understood later, when the next ones in line are also free. If any of these 3 identities touched you more strongly than the others, type its name in the comments right now. The first fruit, the key bearer, or the pattern breaker. And if you're not yet subscribed to this channel, this is the right moment to subscribe, because what's coming next is the practical protocol that activates everything that was just revealed about you. This protocol is called the First Generation Activation, and it has 3 simple steps, but they require you to actually fulfill them, not just hear them. First step, name out loud. Right now, even if it's quiet, a specific pattern from your family that you are deciding not to repeat anymore. It could be the silence in the face of conflict. It could be giving up on a dream too early. It could be always accepting less than what was promised. Say out loud the exact name of that pattern, clearly, and say that it ends now, in you, in this generation. Second step, write down the name of someone in your bloodline, alive or not. Someone who tried something important and didn't complete it. Someone whose efforts seem to have been in vain. And declare with conviction that this person's calling is now being fulfilled in you. Not as a heavy burden you carry out of obligation, but as an honor you receive by choice. Third step, set aside 5 minutes of silence today, before the day ends. Don't ask for an external sign. Don't ask for visible confirmation from outside to believe that this is real. Just sit down, take a few deep breaths, and listen to what will be spoken inside you in that specific silence. The confirmation sign that the protocol was truly received is not euphoria, not an explosion of temporary emotion. It is quietness in your chest. A peace that makes no noise at all, but changes absolutely everything inside. Silently and definitively. Don't confuse quietness with nothing happening. The quietness that comes after this protocol is different from every other calm you've ever felt. It doesn't disappear when the day gets hard. It remains underneath everything, like a new root taking hold while the rest of your life keeps moving on top. If you are receiving this protocol right now, type the word "received" in the comments before moving on to the next part. In the next 72 hours, 3 things will be launched against you. Not as a distant possibility, as an absolute certainty, so pay attention to recognize each one when they arrive. The first is called distorted loyalty. It arrives disguised as respect for your family, as if moving forward too much would dishonor those who came before you, as if prospering were a form of silent betrayal. But at the root, it's not respect at all. It's fear of surpassing someone who stopped running a long time ago. The specific weapon of this tactic is guilt, making you pull back every time you're about to do something that nobody in your family had the courage to do before. The second is called generational imposter syndrome. It arrives disguised as genuine humility, whispering quietly that it's not time yet, or that maybe you're really not the right person to carry this. But at the root, it's not humility at all. It is sabotage carefully dressed up as modesty. The specific weapon of this tactic is doubt, planted at the exact moment when you are closest to acting with conviction. The third is called rhythm comparison. It arrives disguised as careful discernment, comparing your activation time to the time of other people who already seem to be ahead, already harvesting, already living what you are still waiting for. But at the root, it's not discernment at all. It is distraction carefully calculated, designed to take your focus off your own unique process and trap you, anxious, in someone else's process. The specific weapon of this tactic is hurry, making you chase a rhythm that was never and will never be yours. And there is still a fourth enemy, the quietest of all, the one that doesn't need to come from outside because it already lives inside you. It is the voice that asks softly, in the middle of the night or the middle of the day, "Who do I think I am to be the first?" This voice doesn't use shouts or obvious threats. It uses doubt carefully disguised as common sense, realism, maturity, and it needs to be confronted with the same firmness you would use against the other 3, because it is, in fact, the most dangerous of them all. Recognizing these 4 forces by name is already half the battle won. The enemy loses strength at the exact moment it stops being an anonymous whisper and becomes something named out loud. Distorted loyalty, generational imposter syndrome, rhythm comparison, and the internal voice that doubts your own right to be the first. 4 names, 4 masks, 1 single origin. The fear of seeing you free from the pattern that trapped everyone before you. If you now receive the protection against these 4 forces that will come in the next 72 hours, type the word "protected" in the comments. The decree was sealed the moment you typed it. Now I want you to place your hand over your chest, calmly. Close your eyes if you can do that safely right now. Breathe deeply, counting to 3 slowly, and release the air gradually. There are burdens you've been carrying for a long time that, honestly, don't belong to you anymore. The first is the weight of representing your entire family alone, as if every decision you make has to carry the destiny of entire generations on your back, every single day, without rest. Release that burden now, with your own hands. The second is the guilt of having more opportunities than your parents had, as if prospering were somehow a silent offense to those who came before you and suffered more. Release that guilt now. The third is the fear of activating the calling and failing publicly in front of everyone who is watching, waiting to see if you're really going to make it. Release that fear now, without keeping even a piece of it. Say it out loud. If you can, I release this now, and I will not carry it again. I saw every single early morning when you woke up at 3 o'clock without knowing why. Alone in the dark of your room, feeling like something was being asked of you before the day even officially started. I was there, in every single one of those nights. It wasn't insomnia. It was a summons, calling you before the world woke up to distract you. I saw every time you smiled in a room full of people, greeted them, made conversation, pretended everything was fine, and then closed the front door and let your face fall. Alone, without anyone knowing the enormous distance between your outside face and your inside chest. I saw every single one of those times, and none of those nights, none of those forced smiles was wasted. All of it was being used to form you in silence, from delay to revealed purpose, from generational silence to a voice that finally finds the right words, from scarcity repeated for generations to provision that finally breaks the old pattern, from unnamed waiting to a calling with its own name, written, sealed, and confirmed. I cover your mind now against every doubt that tries to tell you that you are not worthy to be the first one to cross over. I cover your relationships so that those who need to walk alongside you in this new generation are drawn close to you, and those who need to stay behind, still trapped in the old pattern, drift away in peace, without war, without resentment. I cover your time so that you no longer chase after anyone else's rhythm, and finally receive your own rhythm as enough, as right, as exactly what it needs to be. And I cover this specific calling that today receives a name before you, so that nothing that was planted silently in previous generations is lost along the way, and everything that was held back for so long finally runs free through your hands to those who come after you. I also saw the nights when you took inventory of what still hadn't arrived, counting in your head what you promised yourself and still haven't seen come true. Every single item on that list is being reorganized now, in the right order, at the right time, without you needing to force anything to happen before its hour. I send you now, not as the last representative of a tired bloodline, but as the first representative of an entirely new generation. Say it out loud now. With conviction, I am the first of a new generation. The calling begins in me. Amen. If this word truly reached you, type the word "done" in the comments right now, because heaven records every confession made in the open in front of others who also need to read what you wrote. And if there is someone in your own bloodline, a son, a nephew, a younger brother, someone who is also stuck in the exact same pattern you just broke out of now, send this video to that person today. Don't wait for the perfect moment, because it might never come. Maybe this is exactly the word that breaks the pattern in their life too, through you and only through you. And if you want to go beyond this moment, if you want to deepen this activation with more clarity and more practical direction for the next steps, the link is in the first comment. Waiting with the same patience that waited for you until now. It's not another distant promise. It's the practical continuation of everything that has already started moving inside you while you were hearing this message. In the next video, I'm going to show you what to do when the family you just surpassed doesn't understand, and maybe never will understand, the change that happened in you. Don't miss that word, because it comes right after this one. Keep this message in a place where you can come back when doubt tries to whisper again, because it will try, and you're going to need to remember exactly what was said here, with the same weight and the same clarity as right now. It is done. You are not the same person you were when this message began. You seek. You dedicate yourself. You do everything right, and yet abundance never comes. And the worst part, you start wondering if you're doing something wrong, if you're being heard up above, if it's meant for you at all. It's not a lack of faith or worthiness. It's a spiritual blockage that ordinary prayer alone cannot break. The Miracle Journal unblocks this in 21 days with a spiritual protocol that works exactly where your prayer doesn't reach. Along with the journal, you'll also receive as a gift the prayer guide and the Psalms manual with the most powerful sacred practices and texts to deepen your transformation. To claim your version of the journal, tap the link in the comments right below this video.